On the East Coast, eggplant parms are amazing, but massive. And if you put one down, chances are your day's going with it. So I thought, what if we give it a facelift, but still pay respect to what makes it so great? Let's get into it. Let's start by making our Italian sesame buns. Measure 50 grams of bread flour, 8 grams of instant yeast, and 50 grams of room temperature water. As we've made before, this is our POOLISH. Give it a mix, then cover it and let it proof for 1 hour. The inspiration to convert an Italian hoagie into a bun came to me after watching Brian Lagerstrom's meatball sub video. I used his recipe as a launch pad and made some adjustments of my own. For your dough, measure out 270 grams of warm water, that 100 grams of POOLISH we just mixed, a mix of AP and semolina flour, 8 grams of sugar, 13 grams of salt, and 20 grams of shortening or butter. If you're thrown off by the shortening, sorry to say, but it's very common in Italian-American bakeries. Mix your ingredients until it transforms from a shaggy dough into a cohesive ball. Cover it with a wet towel or saran wrap and let it rest for 30 minutes. An easy way of giving your dough strength is using the bowl that it's in. Turn and push the dough against the bowl repeatedly until it creates a nice tight ball. Then pop that bad boy in a well-oiled bowl, cover it, and set it aside to proof for at least 1 hour until doubled. While that party gets started, grab your eggplant. No, not that one. This one. Slice off the ends, stand it up, and peel it down the sides. Since we love our fingers, use your knuckles as a guide, then turn your eggplant over and cut 1-inch medallions. It's more traditional for the sandwich to cut the eggplant in long planks, but because we have a bun, we're going for more of a burger shape. After sprinkling with salt, cover with paper towels to pull up moisture. While that sits, let's work on our marinara sauce. In a medium pot, pour 1 tablespoon of olive oil, then 50 grams of diced onion and your spices. Give it a little saute, then 1 whole clove of garlic, a little black pepper, and 800 grams of crushed tomato. Personally, I think tucking in some basil inside the marinara really lightens the sauce. After simmering your sauce for 30 minutes, fish out your garlic and your basil and set aside. And for a final touch, a nice glug of balsamic vinegar. The balsamic helps us from having to add sugar and adds a great depth to the sauce. This sauce gets even better the next day. Most eggplant parms get fresh basil, but that wilts, so we're making a sauce instead. Start with 50 grams of fresh basil, 65 grams mayo, 1 teaspoon salt, half teaspoon black pepper, 1 garlic clove, the juice of half a lemon, and 112 grams of neutral oil. Then blend it all together, and it turns into this really rich, creamy, and green basil sauce. And when paired with the fatty cheese and eggplant, it's gonna make you wanna keep going back to that sandwich. After it's proofed for 1 hour and doubled in size, turn out your dough onto your counter with a little flour and divide into 6 pieces, first in half, and then each half into thirds. Using your scale, make sure each piece weighs 150 grams. To shape them, grab every corner and begin pulling towards the middle until you get a ball. Using the friction between the palms of your hands, simultaneously push and pull the dough into a tight round. After you've completed this with all 6, place on a parchment or silicone mat lined baking tray, then cover and rest for 30 minutes until we complete our final shaping. While those rest, we're gonna switch gears and get back to our eggplant. The salt we sprinkled on top earlier to pull up moisture, we're actually gonna use as a seasoning because we're par-cooking this eggplant before we fry it. With a little oil in a hot pan, sear for 1 minute until browned. Then brush the top with a little bit of balsamic vinegar and let cool on a wire rack. Searing first, make sure that the whole eggplant is fully cooked once it's fully fried. Speaking of frying, our next creator, ChristianPetroni, is a wizard with all things Italian, especially seasoned breadcrumbs. His video inspired me to track down Sicilian oregano, which I highly recommend. Any decent Italian grocery store should carry it. For our breading station, put 150 grams of breadcrumbs, 1 gram of garlic powder, 1 gram red pepper flake, 3 grams of salt, and then grab that Sicilian oregano and give it a little shaky shake over top. Almost forgot, 1 gram of black pepper. Mix it all together with your hands, then get 3 eggs, beat them together, and your dredge station is ready to go. My preferred workflow is whatever you're battering, then you're wet. This way it's easier to keep one hand dry and one hand wet throughout the process. As you bread your eggplant, completely cover and then press it down to get it completely covered in breadcrumbs. Repeat with all your pieces, and then chill in the fridge for at least 30 minutes before frying. To make Italian sesame buns, the top needs sesame. So get your dough balls and complete the same shaping process that we did earlier. Grabbing available corners, pulling them to the middle. To help our sesame seeds stick to our buns, we're going to get a wet towel and place it next to our board. With the seam side up, roll the dough ball in the towel and then into the sesame seeds. Pretty cool, right? I learned this trick from this great YouTuber, Bake with Jack. In his video, he shows you 5 different methods, but this one was by far my favorite. Once you've seeded all of your dough balls, cover and let rest in a warm place for 1 to 2 hours until doubled. When they're ready, they should just barely spring back when poked. Like this. Cover your rolls with egg wash and preheat your oven to 400 degrees. We're gonna bake these for 20 minutes or until golden brown. And damn, those do look good if I do say so myself. The outside has a crispy, shattery crust, and the inside, well, take a look for yourself. While those cool down, we'll start frying our eggplant. Bring a wide pan filled halfway with oil to 345 degrees. Get your eggplant and slowly drop inside. To not drop the temperature too much, only place in 2 to 3 at a time. Turn to brown evenly and then remove when golden. They will continue to cook slightly while they rest. Cover with a little bit of salt, and now let's assemble this sandwich. Grab your sauces, bun, cheese, and eggplant, and then cut your roll directly in half. To give the eggplant something to stick to, put a little tomato sauce on the bottom, stack your eggplant, and then cover with cheese. I went with mozzarella and sharp provolone. To melt the cheese and crisp up the bun, place back in that 400 degree oven for 5 minutes. When the cheese is ooey gooey, add a little bit more sauce, and then shave a blanket of Parmesan over top. Last but not least, grab that basil sauce and place over top. Drum roll, please. Introducing your 3-cheese eggplant parm sandwich on Italian sesame roll. This is by far the best eggplant sandwich I've been able to finish and continue my day without taking a nap. And because the eggplant is cut thicker, you can actually taste it instead of just breading like most eggplant parms. I think me and this sandwich need a minute alone.
Well, that's it. I hope you liked this one and that it didn't piss off too many Italians while doing it. Please check out all the creators we featured. Their content is amazing. And if you have any questions, drop me a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you next time.